Hi guys, this is your girl Didi, and I'm here to share with you when I was giving birth to my first child. Well, it started out one Friday morning. I actually went to the bathroom and have a pee, and on my way back from the bathroom now, I went to my bed, lying down, and when I lie down few minutes later, I felt like something as give me a pinch right under there, and I was like, what is that? And I'm like thinking to myself, what is happening under there? And I'm like waiting just few, maybe it happened so quickly. I think it happened about like 5 seconds or so. I'm like, what? When I realized a lot of water flooding out, and I'm like, what is going on? Then I said, oh my God, my water was break. And I was like, so I touched my husband and I said, listen, turn on the light because the light switch was off. And like, for example, the light switch is right before me, and he was running behind me, and I'm like, no, on the light switch is right there. And he went and he turned on the switch and he's like, what's going on? And I'm like, my water break. And then when I at that time I was off the bed because I didn't want the bed to soak, it was soaking, I mean flooding with that water. I'm like, what is going on? I'm saying, wow, the baby's ready. And so I got ready and he got ready and we went. No, there is an hospital near beside me, but at that time they were doing some cleaning at the hospital where they would have a little infection. So I was like, we were heading to another hospital far away from me, where it called Mandeville Hospital. So while heading at the hospital, I was like, wasn't really in any pain to like, oh my God, I'm in so much pain, but I could feel a little, I could just feel a little bit of pain, and I'm thinking to myself, what if I have this child on the way going such as far distance in Mandeville? But then I just believed that I was going to reach anyway. So when I reach at the hospital now and I get checked in and all of that, thinking that when I reach I'm going to like, whoop, there comes baby, it was not so. Man, it it was an experience to remember. I I when I get checked in now, I lie down on the bed and then short then after I start to feel a little more pain than before, and then it's off and on. The contractions were getting more crazy. And then remember that my head water has already burst when I was at home. So therefore I give dry birth and it was like, it was rough. I think I was in the hospital for a week and it was not for a week that how rough it was. So upon the time when I should have this child now, and there was two nurses, and I lie down on the bed, and the nurse said push, and I'm like pushing, and then in that process of time I got tired because trust me, Pushing out a child it is rough. It is really rough. It's not easy, especially when it's the first child. My God, it's rough. It was rough. So, while in the labor room, as I said, I have two nurses, one on the left and one on the right. And when they're telling me to push, I'm there pushing, and there's no baby, and I was sweating all over, and I'm like getting tired, and I was getting frustrated. And then when time has passed, I mean, few hours has passed, and one of the nurses said to me, do you want to go home without a child? And I'm like, what? Going home without a child? Are you crazy? I cannot go home without a child after this long 9 months. It was 9 long months waiting for my first baby to come, and then you're telling me you might not go home without a child if you can't push? Man, I don't know where I get that energy, but I did push. And then I pushed, and then I couldn't go no more. I was so exhausted. I was really, 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 really tired. And when the nurse said those few words to me, it gave me a little bit strength. So I said, listen, me nurse, you hold this foot and you hold this foot, because I am not going home without a child. So the nurses, they hold my feet, and boy, they said, push like you're defecating. And I'm like, okay, you asked for it. And I push, man. And that when that baby was born, I was like, what a relief. I was so happy. Oh God, at that time of moment, God just give me the strength, and I push that child out, because I'm determined not to go home without a child. You crazy? Anyways, when I have the child now, and I get a little tear, but I was so happy that the child was born, because trust me, those pain was not nice. Even before I have the child, I was like this, oh my God. And I'm like, my hand was like up and down on my legs and rubbing it, and then obviously my hands touched the nurse, and the nurse like said, why are you touching me with your hand? Why are you touching me? And I said, nurse, I don't mean to really touch there. I'm touching you with my hands. And she was like, you can't do that. And I'm like, sorry, nurse, sorry. And I'm like, oh my God. But it's so hot, hot. But anyway, when I have that child, it was so wonderful. It was like, hallelujah. I was so happy. And then when they took me to the room now, and when they cleaned up the baby and they took me to the room that I should have my baby now and breastfeeding and all of that, I was breastfeeding, and I'm like, the baby was like, just crying. I'm like, what is going on with this child? And I was looking at my breast, and I'm saying, this child is not getting anything. So I went up to the nurse's desk, and I said to the nurse, the baby is crying, and I don't see no milk coming out of the breast. Should I give the child some at the time, what was that thing name again? Glucose. And the nurse looking at me like I'm crazy. The nurse said, go and give the child the breast. And I'm like, nurse, the baby is crying, and I'm giving the baby the breast, and nurse, there's no milk coming out. And the nurse keep on like, I said, go and give the child the breast. I mean, like, okay, this is my first time having a baby. You're telling me to go and give the child the breast, and I'm telling you, nurse, that there's no milk coming out. I was expecting the nurse to say, okay, this is your first child. This is what's going on. Just let the child pull and pull until the milk comes out, because at first it's not really milk, it's like a fluid like substance come up before the milk. And I'm expecting the nurse to tell me how and to teach me as a new mother. I have to just learn on my own, because I'm expecting when I have baby, I'm expecting milk should be like pushing all over the place, but it was not so. My breast was heavy with milk, but there was none coming out for the child to get. And as I was saying, that I expect the nurse should show me or tell me, teach me how I should nurse my child. So I took shame and I went back. And before I even talked to the nurse, and I was at the nursing station there, I stood there with the child for like a few minutes, because the nurse, they were like with each other, and I'm like, hello, I'm right here, I need assistance. And they were like talking to each other like I wasn't there, and I was like, okay. And when they finally look at me, that is what they're telling me, do and go and give the child the breast. Can you imagine? I was so embarrassed and feeling like, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I took my shameness and I went back to the little room that they give me to stay, and I keep on give the child the breast until finally I see that some milk is coming out, and I felt a little better to know that the child is getting milk, you know. But that part of it I did not like though, because some nurses, they don't took the time to teach you as a new mother how to deal with your child, you know, how to deal with your child, to say it's your first child. You're expecting them to help you throughout the way, to say, oh, this is what you do and this is not what you do. I have to learn it all by myself and just use my brain, you know, that God gave me, because they didn't took the time out to say, well, this is how it done, this is what to expect, and this is what not to expect, you know. So I just have to learn all by myself with little tears in my eyes. And then when my husband came to the hospital, trust me, everybody knew who he was. When you look at my husband, his mouth seemed as if it opened way up here. So that is the reason why I said it didn't took long for anyone to know that he was the baby father. He was like grinning. He was so happy, you know, because it's his first child too, and he was like grinning off his face, and you know. And then it was a nice experience. It was tough because, trust me, when the water, I felt as if I was in hospital for a week or two, and it was not. I went my water break 5 o'clock Friday morning, and I think I came out Sunday, but it seemed as if it was a week that I stayed in that hospital. That's how long I was in that state of pain, in and out, and I walk one section and the other section, and I mean, trust me guys, having a child, it's not easy. Trust me, it is not easy having a child. I'm telling you, the pain is just all over. and it's just the baby. It come like your head a hurt you. It come like your back a hurt you. It come like you pain the all over your body. All over your body. You can't even tell. The only way the pain stops when the baby born. Then it's like, as I said, hallelujah. Baby born feels so good. And it has been a long journey. It is. And I have no regret having my baby girl. And she's a young grown up girl right now, you know. So just watch out for part 2. When I will telling you how I had my son. So stick out for part 2 of when I have my son. I'll tell you that experience in another video. So stay tuned while I tell you the next experience. Peace be.